Rightio, good morning everyone and welcome to Blue Abroad Nation. Once again, your best start to your footy weekend every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. in the West or 9:30 a.m. in South Australia in the Northern Territory. I'm joined as always, well not as always, but again, I should say, by my co-host for the day, Mr. Vince Loccisano, and we are driving with the Prince of Princes Park again today. Vince, how you going?
G'day, Johnny, and hello everyone out there listening and watching. It's a beautiful day here in Melbourne, and looking forward to a big weekend in footy.
Another big week in footy, and an uplifting week for us this week. We, after a couple of ordinary losses, I guess, with the usual promise and everything else that we talk about, but we really needed that win, a win against the Bombers, and by all accounts, the atmosphere in the crowd was something else, and it was a big day. What was your take on the day, mate, on the win?
Yeah, look, it was a great day, and the atmosphere was you could feel that different atmosphere in the air when we play a traditional rival, and there was about 57,000 people there, and they certainly made a lot of noise. And at one stage, it was looking pretty grim for us. We went down I think it was about 21 points in the second quarter, and everyone was starting to think, oh, no, don't tell me. But we fought back well at the end of that second quarter and just about tied the scores by half time. And I think most of us felt quite optimistic after that because we showed we could be the team to get 3 or 4 goals in a row rather than the opposition. And in fact, I think we did have a run because the third quarter we also started off like a house on fire and got the first 3 goals or so. So, there was a decent run of goals before they happened to get one back. And I think we were always in control towards the end of the game. It was a great win and certainly took the pressure off the boys and off the coach after that win.
Yeah. Look, what we'll do, we'll touch on that a little bit later, mate. I'll just give everyone a rundown on what we got on today. Now, of course, Riley Staraj is commentating his very first ever VFL game today. His media career is burgeoning and taking off. So, well done to Riley, and all the best of luck today. I think he's commentating Southport versus a blind school or something like that. I don't know, but good luck, Riley. Have a good call, mate. We got a Bluebagger from Thailand jumping on today. We got a few of our international crew have jumped on, and the big one, of course, the great man. He started life as a swan and then became a giant and came over to the Blues and sort of became somewhat of a cult hero amongst the cheer squad and the supporters, just because of his tenacity, his antagonism, and something that we desperately needed. And probably a lot of us felt a bit aggrieved when he was let go at the time. The sort of bloke that we probably felt like we needed to keep in the squad. But anyway, it didn't quite work out for him. But we still love him, and he's going to be jumping on in just a tick. He's just joined the queue. He's lining up there, so we'll bring him on the tick. Now, as usual, everyone, we will be covering the injury list, anything to do with Blues news and whatnot, and a few people jumping on for fan cams and a conversation. But without further ado, let's bring him in. We got another driving with champagne, mate. What's wrong with you blokes? He can't sit still in a lounge room or anything like that, with a nice Carlton jumper in the background set up like a wanker. You have to be in your car.
As a matter of fact, mate, I was doing a bit of shifting around on the weekend or during the week, and happened to, you might notice I'm wearing a raggedy old cap. I found one from 2009. Have a look at that.
That's a ripper.
And look what it says on the side. It says, member 2009. This is from 12 years ago. And on the side of it, mate. I don't know if you can see that. On the side it says, they know we're coming.
Yeah, they know we're coming. It looks like it's got a bit of a Monica Lewinsky stain on it there, mate. So maybe that is the case. But anyway, Vince, the great man's about to jump on.
12 years, we're still coming.
Vince, shut up. I'm trying to bring lamb chops in, mate. Let's get Mutney on here, eh? Come on, let's get him in.
Okay.
Morning, Jed. How you going, mate? Welcome to the show.
Mate, how you going?
There he is. G'day,
yeah,
Jed.
we're going all right, mate. We're going all right. It's everyone's in their cars. It's a lot of fun. So yeah. Now, Jed, like I said before, you started life as a Swan. You became a Giant. You made your way over to the Blues. Tell us a little bit about the early part of your career, how you got into the AFL system, and who were your big influences as a young man starting your footy career?
Yeah, so I just played locally for Yarram. Me and my brothers were playing there. I started playing senior footy pretty young. I think I was about 13. I was playing the senior grand final that we lost. And from there, I started getting recognised from a few recruiters in Gippsland Power. And obviously played there as the bottom age under 18s and then top age. I won the goal kicking in the under 18s, and then obviously I was picked up by Swans in 2010. Probably didn't go to plan. I didn't play for a few years. I sort of had a couple of injuries and stuff that set me back, and then obviously crashed in. I think it was 2012 when I debuted. And then from there, obviously, as you said, I went to the Giants for a couple of years. Didn't go to plan. I was sort of butting heads with Leon Cameron. I wasn't getting played, so just so happened that Steve Silvani got me from Swans to Giants, and then he left to go to Carlton. So when I wasn't playing, he was in contact with my manager, just letting me know that if things wasn't going to plan, that would try and get me back to Carlton at the end of the year. So I still had another year left at Giants, but took a big pay cut and ended up at the mighty Bluebaggers.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Now, who did you follow as a kid? Who was the team you loved?
I was mad Essendon, mate. My hero was James Hird growing up. So, yeah, I don't follow Essendon too much anymore, obviously being big rivals. But yeah, I was mad Bomberman.
Yeah. Now, mate, on the just on the Sydney days, Sydney Swans and Giants, obviously, didn't get along well with Leon Cameron. Happens with a lot of players, with coaches. It's got to be the right fit. But who were your good friends? Who were the as Bob Murphy might say, the rascalous partners in crime that you got along really well with, and that you remain friends and in touch with nowadays? Big influences for you.
Yeah, well, when I first moved to Sydney, I was with Sam Reid and Nick Smith. They were a couple of older players, and then I ended up living with Jakey Lloyd and Tim Membry for a few years. So I've got some good memories up there. Tim's obviously with the Saints now. Also live with a bloke named Tommy Wallace who's at St Kilda, an Irishman. He ended up leaving and going back home. So I've been over to Ireland and visited him a few times. So I've kept in contact with him. And from the Giants, Dylan Shield and Tom Scully, I hung out with a fair bit. When I was at the Giants, I still lived in the eastern suburbs, so I still spent most of my time with the Swans boys, to be honest. So I still keep in contact with a fair few of them, and I was actually in Gary Rowan's wedding party, so he's a good mate of mine.
Yeah, all good lads. And, mate, so you make your way over to the Blues. Things didn't quite work out in Sydney, and you eventually sort of, I suppose, made a name for yourself as a forward pressure, at times tagger type player, and an antagonist. Was that something that you evolved into, or was it something that came naturally to you, that was always a part of your game? It seemed from the outside looking in that it was something that maybe you're instructed to be more of, or you became in the last couple of years here at Carlton.
I'm naturally mates and stuff, but it probably wasn't too the game we played Hawthorn. Brendan Bolton obviously comes from the Hawks, and he knew James Sicily was a hothead. So leading up to the game, he pulled me aside and he said, "We're going to play on this weekend, which I tried to do anything you can to get under his skin." So in the first bounce, I was just into him, pinching him, stepping on his feet, just doing whatever I could to get under his skin. And it just so happened he started biting back. I got a few free kicks and kicked a few goals, and ended up beating him. So yeah, probably one of the games. Didn't play too many good games, but that's probably one of the games that all the Blues boys remember me for.
Yeah, no, it is, and it solidified you in our hearts, and it certainly it also made good old James a nice villain for us for the coming years. A lot of the baggers they don't forget that, and he's one of our favourite villains. Now, mate, are you willing to share with us anything else that you might have said to Baggers in that game against Essendon as well?
Yeah, there's obviously a bit of media around that game. I won't say what he actually said, probably not for a bit over the top, but yeah, things got a bit heated. He probably said a couple of things he regrets. He apologised after the game, but within the heat of the moment, sort of fired me up. And Bolt was pretty fired up as well. I think at the 3-quarter time huddle, Bolt sort of gave him a spray as well, but. Yeah, he apologised after the game. I don't have any harsh feelings. It is what it is. Sort of heat moment. Things can be said, but yeah, that was another game where I sort of got under his skin. And I don't remember we won that game, and I think we did.
Yeah, no, good on both of you for that too. I mean, it's things do get over the top at times, and it's set in the heat of battle. It's you get fired up. It's especially in those big rivalry games. You see a lot of that, and it was certainly on again last Sunday, wasn't it? The 3-quarter time. I think it was pretty much a jumper punch orgy. It was really awesome to see that, but. You hope that no line happens, but to be able to shake hands and cross that white line again and go, that's good. Sorry. Yes, babe. I would love coffee, sweetheart. Thank you very much. Yeah. Well, mate, tell us who you're playing for now, and what your role is in the team, and how things going in your footy life.
Yeah, so I'm playing away now. Obviously, I'm in the Carmen brother. I'm just going down to play Colton Abbott in the Heathcote League. So I'm playing for a club called Whitefield. It's my second year. Obviously, last year didn't go ahead. I'm playing just as a deep full forward, just kicking bags of goals, mate, and doing my thing. But it started really well. We won the first 4 games by an average of 100 points. Been playing pretty well. Had a bit of a field day last week, 13-1.
I heard you kick 13 goals last week, Jetty. We got him.
We've lost him. We lost him. Oh, hang on, he's back. He's back at the reception shootout.
Goals last week.
You got me?
I said, I hear you kicked a bag of 13 goals last week, just as a small forward. Can you hear me?
Hang on, he's got someone in the car with him. He didn't. Hey, mate, there's such a thing called disclosure in this world. Who you got in the car with you, mate? Come on, let's get him on. You know what's happened? He's lost reception.
He's lost reception.
Come back on. Oh, here he is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now, mate. We got you. Now, who's in the car with you, mate?
Oh.
I think we got a bit of a lag. What we might do is
that's the problem when you're
we'll jump out.
Moving car.
Lammy, we can hear you, but you can't hear us. So we're going to jump out because it's just not great viewing at the moment. And but if you can hear us, thank you very, very much for jumping on, mate. It's been great. We'll do it again another time. Hopefully when you're not on the way to footy. And we really appreciate your time.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we've got him out. I've had to get him out. Well,
shit, you got me back on.
I'll sort him out later. Oh, geez, look at the big head there.
Hang on,
now, I got the missus. While the missus is getting me a cuppa, I'm going to bring someone on, very, very special guest. This guy, he's a Bluebagger all the way from Bangkok in Thailand, lives in Thailand. And he's decided, in the true spirit of Blue Abroad Nation, to jump in and have a chat about life over there and what it's like watching footy over there, following the mighty Blues.
Yeah.
Joe Luzo. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Lutza.
Joe
Yeah.
Luzza. That would be very Italian, Joe.
It is very Italian, very southern Italian.
And how many other southern Italians do you find over there in Thailand?
Not very many. Only the ones from Italy.
Good to have a couple of Italians on. The missus has just brought me my morning coffee at 8 a.m. There we go.
I'll have an espresso with 2 sugars, please.
Yeah, same here. I'll have the same. I'm dying for a decent espresso.
Yes. What time is it over there in Thailand, Joe?
I just got out of bed at 7 o'clock.
Right. Well, it's just past 10 o'clock here.
Yeah,
no. Go on.
No, I was saying I was just going to go for a run, but I've noticed that it's starting to rain. So in true spirit, I said, "Fuck, bugger it! I'll watch YouTube instead."
Hey,
why
Joe,
don't you get Joe's face up more than mine?
Vince, give me a sec. Let's see. I've got Lammy back on. I just want to see if he can hear us. Hey, Jed, can you hear us now, mate? No.
I think he's lost.
He's lost. I've got him out again.
He's lost.
Okay. So sorry. Now, Joe.
Yeah.
You live in Thailand.
I do.
You still follow the Mighty Blues. Watch. Where do you watch them, at home, or do you go to an Aussie bar? What do you do when you go to watch a footy?
It depends. Because we're in lockdown here for COVID. We've had a big outbreak of COVID, so you can't go anywhere. Normally, I sit at home and I watch it on ABC TV. So we get ABC. It's an international ABC, and they only show the AFL. They don't show the rugby league. Thank God. The only problem is because we only get one game at a time, and because Carlton have been quite terrible. If there's a clash game, we don't get the Carlton game. So, in true fashion, I still have a Telstra account in Australia. Well, I use my sister's. Don't tell them. And I watch it. But this year, she's had to subscribe to KO for me, just in case the games aren't on. But yeah, no, I watch every game, every week, every minute. It drives my time missus crazy because she doesn't get it. She's like, "Why do you have to go home and watch football? It's 2 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon." And I'm like, "Yeah, you go do what you want. I'm just going home." Or I'll send her shopping and I'll go into a pub and watch it and have a counter meal or something.
So, Joe, what led you to leave Australia and go to Thailand to live?
A woman. Happened about 8 years ago. So
very good.
I spoke to John during the week. I was born in Carlton, of all places, Lygon Street. Yeah, followed the Blues from a very young age, and I don't know. I wasn't finding much happiness in Australia with work and life and all that. So I met a Thai girl in Melbourne.
Yep.
And I thought, well, I'll get over here and give it 6 months, see what happens. It's now 8 years.
Has it been?
8 years.
8 years later, you're still there.
And the girl that I left Australia for left me.
Now, Joe,
yeah, absolutely.
With our conversation we had the other day, you shared with me a connection that you have with the great Vin Cottaggio. Can you please explain that one to the
right,
fans?
Johnny, it's Cottaggio.
Oh, what, mate? Mate. This is like a spaghetti western. I can't even lip sync it properly. I don't, let alone verbally get it out right, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so
I'm going to sip on my coffee.
I've got 2 older sisters, and they went to school at Princess Hill, which is, if you know the Princess Park quite well, it's just opposite. Yes. And my youngest sister, who's 8 years older than me, who just recently passed away, was Vin Cottaggio's girlfriend at high school for 4 years.
Wow.
So Vin used to come round to our house, and he used to do handball drills with me and kick the football, and and my sister said, "Oh, one day he's going to play in the firsts at Carlton," and I said, "Oh, yeah, sure he is," because he wasn't a big lad, right?
Sure.
And he's small and wiry, and then next thing I know, he's burst into the house. I've got a game. And I said, "It's the grand final." He said, "Yeah, I've got a game. So, and his first game was a grand final. He didn't play very well. He got dragged, I think, at half time or something like that. So he was gutted for a while. But he played a fair few games. I saw you had Jed Lamb on. He ended up at the Swans as well, Vin, didn't he? Didn't he play
did.
at Melbourne and Swans?
I think
Melbourne?
he finally went to Melbourne first after he left us, and then he went to the Swans after that. But
I still see the great man. Well, I don't see him. I'm Facebook friends with him.
Yeah, me too.
When I used to come to when we could fly, I'd come to Melbourne every year for the opening 2 rounds of the season. Watch Richmond and then the next game, because I've still got a reserved seat at the MCG. Believe it or not, I still pay $1,000. I don't know why, but my sister uses it. My sister uses it for me. She says we get good value for it.
Yeah.
So catch up with Vin for a drink, and he's a painter these days.
He is. He paints houses, and he's an absolute gentleman, Vinny Catoggio. Anyone who's met him would know he's an absolute gentleman, a ripping bloke, and very down to earth, and very grateful for the opportunities that Carlton Football Club gave him. Yeah,
he's a very, very nice guy. Very nice guy.
Yeah, lovely guy.
Yeah. Now, Lammy's just sent me a message. Does he? Because he removed himself and just asked if he wanted to join in again. So we're going to give it another crack. Let's see if we can get old Mutney on the broadcast here. I might drop you out for a tick, Joe.
Yeah.
Do you want to get me off the main screen, Johnny?
Oh, no, mate. No, look at you got a head that every Carlton supporter loves, mate.
I've got the best head for radio.
Can you hear me, lad?
Here he is. Is he on? Yeah, boy, he's back. You got Mutney on. Work. Hey, mate, who's that in the car with you? You were chatting away with someone, it looks like. Oh, no, he's frozen up again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
That's better.
Yeah, mate. Got ya.
Yeah, nice. Now, it looked like you were chatting away with someone in the passenger seat there or something. What's going on, mate? Who you got with you?
I've got my brother with me. He's plays footy with me, but he's got the week off. He's got a bit of a sore back. He's soft as butter. So.
Yeah, all right. Oh, bring him in then, soft as butter, eh? Bring him in. What's on you? What's going on? Get him in. Mutney and lamb chops.
Got on, mate.
There he is. There you go, mate. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, you got any dirt that you can dish out on your rascalous brother there, or what?
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Oh, everything, mate. Everything. Don't hold back.
I don't know where to start.
Well, look, I'll help you out just so that you feel a bit relaxed. It's just after 8 a.m. in Perth, and I'm cracking me first Jim Beam Black and Coke, all right? So that's now you got a bit of a flavour of what we're about. Don't feel shy.
I don't know what's going on. I've got full service as well, but it seems to be freezing a bit.
It does, mate. It does, mate, because you're on the road. But it's not. We've had worse, haven't we, Vince?
We have, and you'll notice that I've been stationary for a good 20 minutes.
Now, Jed, we got Joe Loser on here. Laza, I should say.
Yep.
Probably pronouncing it wrong still. He's a Bluebagger from Thailand, lives in Thailand. He's jumped on the broadcast as well, telling us a bit about his life over there, as watching the Blues and everything else he does. So say g'day to Jay.
Hey, boys.
How you going, Joe?
All right. Remember Jed playing for us?
Hey, Jed, can I just jump in?
Yeah, go for it.
Go on, Vince.
He's talking, but I can't hear anything, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm the same. I can see his lips moving, but nothing coming out.
Yeah, we'll have to cut it out because it's not great viewing at the moment, unfortunately, just because of that.
Can I try one question?
Yeah, go on, Vince.
I'll try one question for him. Jed, you'll notice that your fellow number 13, Liam Stocker's in the side now. What do you think of Liam Stocker and his prospects for the future?
Okay. I'm going to stop this, guys. Just really sorry, but unfortunately, we cannot hear anything Jed's saying. It's just completely silent.
No worries.
It's a real shame. We'll do it again another time. Yeah, righto. So, good question though, Vince. Joe, maybe we could throw that to Joe. What do you think about the old Stocky there, the number 13?
It's quite funny because I don't get to see VFL games, or do they still call it VFL these days? You know, I still call them the twos, but he looks okay, but I don't know if he's a backman. He just looks he's a bit lost. I mean, I only get to see the games on TV, right? So as you both know, being at the ground, you get to see a whole lot more. And I just think some of our players are just played out of position. Frustrates me.
So a couple of years ago, when Stocker broke into the team, he played 6 games, I think it was, in 2019, and he was played as a flanker across half back. Predominantly, while it was his first year. He was learning his craft and obviously learning a bit of the defensive side of the game. But he has gone back to the VFL, played predominantly as an inside mid, started dominating as an inside mid. That's what we were recruiting him for, as an inside mid. And they're playing him across half back, and he's looking okay. There, he looks okay. Looks like he knows how to play that position, but that's not what we got him for. And everyone wants to see him thrown into the fire. And what better game to do it than against a side that's just lost their first game, are going to be angry and hungry. And we've got a kid like that who's he's not an angry kid, but he's a
doesn't take any backward steps.
He's a solid ball.
Take backward steps. That's right. Get him in there, and that'll be the perfect environment for him. Let's see how good he is, what he's got. And Cripper still is not getting the support that he needs. I'm seeing so much bullshit about Cripper at the moment, and about his contract, and fucking let him go, all this crap. It's just people have very short memories. He's been hammered because of our system, and what we've done to him. He's been hammered in there doing all the grunt work for all these years, and now the contracts come up, and Walshy's taken over, and Walshy's doing great. But geez, what short memories we have. Now we got a kid like Stocker. Get him in there to help that group. This is the game. This is the game to get him in there.
But the trouble is we've got too many of them. Like they've recruited Matt Kennedy, Sam Petrescu, Seaton, and you got Stocker. I mean,
Zach Williams.
Everyone wants them all.
As a midfielder.
Well, SPS is an inside mid. Kennedy and Setterfield, and to a lesser degree, Dow have failed in that position. Even Setterfield at times has looked good as an inside mid, but he hasn't exactly set the world alight. Now, that's what we recruited Stocker for, and he hasn't had a decent crack at it. Fucking get him in there. Get him in there. I know we all want to see it. I can't see what the football department are not seeing to get it. And then maybe it's stuff that we aren't seeing at training or other factors that's not allowing it to happen. But when you're struggling on the field and you're not playing your best footy, we had a great win against Essendon. I don't think we're plastering over too many cracks just because we had a win over Essendon. We know where we're at still. We've got to evolve, and you can't evolve if you don't give these guys a crack. That's my point of view.
Well, what's the talk in Perth about Cripps? Do they think he's going to come back, or what do they say?
No. To be honest, over here in Perth, there's a lot of scallywags on social media saying that he's bought a house down the road on the beach from Simo and done this and done that. There's a lot of rascalous behaviour that goes on in regards to that. But by all accounts, there's talk about Freo because he wouldn't fit in the Eagles cap and stuff like that. But it's all scuttlebutt. There's no actual media on it. You don't see not 7, 9 or whatever bloody the pay news channels talking about it at all. It's not an issue. In actuality, it seems as though he is in contract negotiation only with the Carlton Football Club. Who knows what's going on in the background? But
exactly.
There's usually, if there's a bit of noise, and there's no noise. There's no smoke, nothing over here.
And what's the word with Charlie Curnow? Will he ever play again? I don't think he'll ever play.
He'll never play basketball again. Otherwise, we're all going to clip him. He's banned from wearing double pluggers on slippery tiles. It's looking like if all goes well and he doesn't have any more setbacks, he will be back in the second half of the year. Yeah. He's doing more running. He's stepping up his running program, his agility programs, everything else. There's a fair bit of media from the club going on with Charlie at the moment. I think because they realise they need to give the supporters a bit of hope and a bit of cheer. So they're showing a bit of Charlie on the screen. He does look fit and healthy, but he looks like he's stacked on a few kgs, I reckon, but not in a bad way. He looks monstrous. He looks ready to. I can't wait to see him out there, and hopefully that extra weight doesn't put too much pressure on his knees and everything else. Because at the moment his knees have got bloody holes drilled in the cap everywhere with bits of hamstring tying it all together. It's what this game does to people with bad knees when they have these surgeries over the years. It is brutal. It's not good. But he's physically he looks well. We hope he can just come on in the second half of the year, make a big impact, and just help us get into those finals. Let's just all cross our fingers and toes on that, because he would be the X factor that gets us there, I reckon.
Okay. Hey, just when you were mentioning before about living in Thailand and watching football, one thing that happens here, we have a community. It's called the Australian Chamber of Commerce, and AUSCHAM for short. And they encourage expat Australians to become members. And every month they have what they call is a sundowner, which is it's just basically a piss up. Okay, but what this AUSCHAM place does do, they have a grand final event, and it's normally in the same hotel. It's a hotel, as people know, Bangkok. It's called the Anantara Hotel, which is one of the high star restaurants. And they rent out the grand ballroom, and they make it look like the MCG. So they put grandstands, and they put hot dog stalls and pie stalls, and they have kids walking around giving out records, rather than buying. It's expensive for Thailand. It's like $100 entry, which is not expensive for Australia, but over here $100 is a bit rich. But you sit there all day, and the Australian ambassador to Thailand's there, and they usually bring a couple of footballers over. And the reason I'm saying this is because 2 years ago, I'm very good friends with. He didn't play for Carlton, but Renee King.
Yes.
Oh yeah, what a legend! Yeah.
And
ex-Collingwood and Essendon.
He is ex-Collingwood, but he is a legend.
And I don't know how many people you got watching, but the biggest freeloader in the modern world, right? He's the biggest freeloader. You'd give him a plate of shit and he'll go, "Is that free?" And you go, "Yeah." He goes, "Right, I'll eat it." So but it was really funny. I rang him up and I said, "Hey, Kinky, the guys over here want you to come over and be a guest because they usually get an ex-footballer." And the previous 2 years, they sort of got B and C grade footballers who, played about 5 or 10 games, but you knew who they were, right? But they were just, and I thought, well, Renee's a bit of a showman. So he came over here. He made an absolute pig of himself, abused everyone from the ambassador to distinguished guests, and then at the end of it, he said to them, "How's about a free trip to Phuket?" They paid for him to come over here. I don't know. I just put them in contact. So he got a free flight, free accommodation. Then he said, "I've got to bring my missus over, right, and a kid." So he brought 2 people with him. They put him up in this hotel for 7 days, and then he's trying to talk his way. But he's a nice bloke, Renee. But talking of injuries, he hobbles around. He's got chronic knee problems. You look at him. He's my age. He's about 60. He looks like a 90-year-old man the way he walks. He can hardly move. I haven't spoken to him for a year.
Was he still a big boy when you saw him, Renee? Like he put on the pudding.
Bigger.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Joe, it's been absolutely fantastic having you on.
Yeah, anytime.
I feel a bit rude, mate. Well, you know what time we're on. Every Saturday it's the same time. Feel free to jump in and click on the link that I'll put up in the comments. We'd love to hear from you again.
Nice to meet you, Vince.
I've got to get Rocco on.
No worries.
This is the welcome to the Italian show, the Carlton Spaghetti Western.
Get lost.
I got Vince as a co-host. I got Joe as a guest, and now I'm bringing on Rocco. Mamma mia!
Viva Italia!
Yeah, Forza Italia. All right, then, guys. I'll keep watching, but I'll see you soon.
Thanks very much, Joe.
Thanks,
you're an absolute legend, a champion. Thanks for coming on, and hopefully we talk to you again next week. Will be great.
You will. All right. See you, boys.
See you, mate. Bye-bye. That's Joe. What a champion, Vince. Now, we're going to get Rocco on, which is really, really good timing because we're going to go through the injury list. And while you and Joe have a little bit of a chat, I'm going to check and see if they've put up the teams yet, which I don't think they would have. But anyway, let's introduce Joe into the studio. I mean, Rocco. Oh, my God, I'm getting confused now. Rocco, how you going, mate?
Guys, how we going? How are we doing?
Yeah. We're doing very well. Hey, Rocco.
Why'd you take it over?
Mate, when I was a kid, there was a guy called Rodney Roode, and he sung this song, "I may not be a wonk, but I look like one." And because as a kid, because of my big nose and my love for food, and I was a bit of a fat kid, a big kid, and so I looked a bit woggy, and I used to cop that all the time.
And used to love it, eh?
Oh, I loved it, mate. I loved it. I don't care. Hey, now listen, Rocco, do you have any earbuds or speakers for your ears? Because we're getting a bit of feedback.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
All right, hold on.
All right, here we go. Because we want to go through the injuries. Now, I've got Ali in the queue as well. Ali, if you've got earbuds or speakers as well, can you chuck them in, and I'll bring you into the studio once you've done that, and then we'll go through these injuries in and out. Now, the injury list last week was looking a little bit better, and then we sort of got hit up with a couple of more injuries this week, but it's still not looking too bad. So I'll just go through the list, and then we'll have the discussion. Jesus, Rocco, I hope you hurry up and get those earbuds. Feedback's killing me. Righto. So on the good news with the estimated returns, we got Jack Silvani with his shoulder, Paddy Dow with his eye,
Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you, Rocco. Oh, man, that's heaps better. That's heaps better.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, good. All right, good.
Let's remove the feedback. Awesome. Okay, so on the injury front, estimated returns. Jack Silvani with his shoulders a test. Paddy Dow with his eyes a test. Mark Murphy with his neck's a test. Jack Carroll, that's another one we're looking forward to seeing in the near future, with his thumb. He's a test. Zach Williams with his soreness. He's a test. And then going down in estimated returns, we got Sam Philp is 2 weeks away with his groin injury. Jack Martin, 2 to 3 weeks still with his knee. Brody Kemp, 2 to 3 weeks with his foot. This is the one that kills me. Zach Fisher with his ankle, 5 to 6 weeks. Jesus, we miss him. Mitch McGovern, the horrible news, obviously, 8 to 10 weeks with his hamstring. And then Oscar McDonald with his back, 9 to 11 weeks. Charlie Curnow with his knee. And Caleb Marchbank out for the season with his knee. But Charlie Curnow, looking forward to him coming back in the second half of the year. Now, absolutely fantastic that we have probably Silvani available, JSOS.
He was very close
Murphy.
last week, Johnny.
Yeah. And now he would be integral to chuck into that forward line for that forward pressure and tackling. And potentially, I don't know what his pace is like at the moment, but in the midfield, throwing his body around as well, having a role there. So we'll see what happens there. Dale Murphy, Carroll and Williams. Obviously, Carroll, he'll go to bat to the VFL. Williams, I was expecting a lot more burst and dash out of Williams than what we've seen so far this year. I really think he needs to get the hell out of the midfield and go back to half-back. That's my personal opinion. If you had Williams and Sard on flanks, that would be so dangerous on both sides of the ground to opposition. They wouldn't know which side to look, left or right. With Wiedering the general there in the centre half back position, I just feel that we're missing a trick there. So we've got a few that we can throw through that midfield, and especially if Paddy Dow can get up. He was looking okay, and then had that bloody eye injury, but there are definitely options there.
How about
what do you guys think of the injuries?
How about swapping Stocker with Williams and put Williams back where he plays his best football and Stocker in the middle?
100%. And SPS, in my opinion, SPS shouldn't have been dropped in the first place ahead of a couple of guys who have been going a little bit slow and a little bit low, like Gibbo. God love Gibbo for what he's done since he got picked up, the Liston medal winner, VFL. He gives it everything, 150% of the God-given talent that he's got, he gives. But he hasn't looked AFL standard the last couple of weeks, and for SPS to be dropped ahead of him was a weird one for me. Now, in my mind, SPS has to stay in that team. He's one to throw in as an outside midfielder. That link between the midfield into the forward line, or rebounding from the back line into the forward line. But don't put SPS on the flank. Keep Zach Williams where he belongs. That's where he played his best football. He's a jet. Keep him there. Sardi and Williams on flanks in the back half. They will not know where to look, the opposition. They won't. And then you got SPS connecting in the middle with guys like Stocker as well. Stocker and Cripps trying to get that grunt, that hard ball out. But having that SPS as a link player, he could be really crucial there. That could be his niche and his role. Rocco, welcome, mate. Thanks for chucking in the earbuds. I'm pretty sure you were in there when we were going through the injury list and the potential ins and outs. I'm going to let you and Vincenzo Agogo have a bit of a chat about all of that, what you guys feel should be happening against the Bulldogs on Sunday, selection-wise, ins and outs, and also how you think that the game should be played. You guys go. I'm going to check the AFL website, see if those selections are in.
Well, you go, Rocco. I'll let you go first, mate.
Is pretty simple here. You're right. SBS has to what we're doing there. So he definitely has to say. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Williams start playing back and maybe swapping with Stocker. Give Stocker some time in the middle. You know what I mean? Murphy's not. Murphy can't get back in. Not now. Oh, he's doing too well. You know. The only other one actually is Sauce will come back. And as much cat bowl really head in. Should we give T another? I mean, he's had a stress-related injury there. Do we bring him straight back in, or cautious and just give him another week and do what Teague was saying and give him a block of 2, 3, 4 games before they get in? What do you reckon, Mick?
Is it just me, or does Rocco sound like RoboCop at the moment?
Yeah, no, I'm getting very. I'm getting a lot of feedback and double talk and echoing.
All right. Let me see if I can fix this. All right, you go talk.
Maybe the earbuds aren't plugged into the lappy properly.
All right, let me
and
just
you're
see
actually
something.
still going through the thing. I don't know.
All right,
Now, I'm going to bring in Ali.
All right.
G'day, Ali. How you going, mate? Ali, we can't hear you either.
We're having a good day today, aren't we, Johnny?
We're having a good day today. Oh, it's a little bit better.
Can't hear him.
Ali, if you've got some earbuds or some plug-in speakers, mate, can you please use them, because we're just not picking you up at the moment. Give us a thumbs up when you... Have you got earbuds in? What's going on there? Or some plug-in speakers, mate. Can you please use them, because we're just not picking them up at the moment. Give us up when you... Have you got earbuds in on there? Or some plug-in speakers, mate. Can you please use them, because...
Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me, Mick?
I can't hear
No?
it.
Is that you, Rocco?
It's all very poor. Poor quality.
Righto, Rocco. Just go again now, mate. Righto, talk, Rocco, talk. Righto. Shouldn't be hard for you.
I've frozen up. This is ridiculous.
All right, I'm gonna jump Rocco and Ali out of the studio, and Vince, we'll just have a chat. Forgive me, while we're chatting, I won't be looking at the screen because I'm just checking out for a website. But what's going on with these blokes? It's 2021. They need to upgrade their equipment, don't they?
Yes, they do. But it happens to the best of us. If we're talking about the team, I think Silvani will come back in this week. McGovern going out probably is a reasonable swap with Silvani, and I think they'll just play Mackay and Casbolt in the full forward and centre half forward positions, put Silvani in a pocket, and he'll add a lot of forward pressure. And I think that's what we're going to have to do, is to try and keep that ball in the forward 50 when it gets down there. And I think, Eddie Betts and Michael Gibbons are going to have to really step it up with their forward pressure as well.
Yeah, and look, I don't think you can understate Mitch McGovern's game last week. It's such a bloody shame. We finally saw the dynamic of that forward line, how it should work with Harry Mackay on fire, Mitch McGovern not just as a decoy, but a physical presence and playing with confidence. It made a big difference. It still wasn't perfect. It wasn't his greatest game, but you could see it evolving. You could see, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. So Jack Silvani coming back into that dynamic is going to be crucial, and probably adds a better dynamic than what Mitch offers at the moment, to be honest. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise to some degree. Although, having said that, I will correct myself. For Mitch McGovern, we're thinking of him. He cops a lot, man, but injuries you can't control. He seemed to have got himself right. Just maybe those years of playing when he wasn't conditioned 100% have affected his lower back and hamstrings more than what we know. And maybe now is at that point of his career where he's going to be susceptible to that. So good luck. Big task ahead for guys like Andrew Russell and the medical team to get this kid right, because he is going to be just essential for us, I think, Mitch. He showed that last week.
Yeah, I think he showed signs of, potentially being as physical through that half forward line as what Earl Spalding used to be about 25 years ago. But he's got to do more of that more often, show some physicality, but also when the ball's there to be won, he's got to be prepared to put his body in. And there was a couple of examples where he jerked the issue there. I saw a few highlights on one of those football shows where, they showed him being physical with the Essendon players, but when the ball was there to be won a couple of times, he shirked the issue. So he's got to be prepared to put the body on the line for the ball, as well as when he's, flying the flag to the team.
And a bit like Levi, he's lost those sticky fingers, hasn't he? He's absolutely lost the sticky fingers.
Well, he's paid a lot of money, and he probably gets a lot more flack because of the contract more than anything else. But when he's playing well and he's imposing himself on the contest, he can really make a big difference in our forward line. So you'd like to think that Mitch can get over his hamstring problem, although I believe it's something like an 8 to 10 week prognosis. So he's obviously done a decent hamstring strain, more like a tear by the sounds of that.
It's not good.
But anyway, obviously that probably helps guys like Casbolt retain his spot in the team. I'd like to see a lot more from Levi. He's got the potential to be a lot better. Silvani coming in, as I said, should provide a lot more forward pressure. When he hasn't got the ball is almost as good as when he has.
Vince, I'm just going to jump in there because we've only got about 7 minutes to go. And there's something that you said there that really struck me. It probably gives Levi another opportunity to stay in the team. Probably keeps Levi in the team. And I love Levi, but he's also lost his sticky fingers. Yeah. Yes, he's a role player. Yes, he's crashing packs and he's a backup ruckman, but he's lost his greatest weapon, his contested marking ability, and that was something that with Mitch McGovern that we were waiting to see as well. Yeah. And that was the one facet of his game that wasn't there last week. Everything else I loved about Mitch's game, but these guys, those two guys, that's what they're there for, and that's where we need Charlie. That's why if Charlie comes in and he's lost his sticky fingers as well, then I'm gonna paint my hands with honey and I'm gonna rock up to Icon Park for training and see if I can get a gig, because where else do we go? Get the fat white guys in. And speaking of former fat white guys, I've got a very special guest just jumped into the broadcast. Love this guy. My best mate that I've never met, the one and only Pommy in Oz. Mr. Dan Williams, welcome to the broadcast, Dan. How you going, buddy?
Thanks for having me. What an intro. I'll tell you what, your intros are the best in the game, aren't they?
They're up there.
You're the Buddy Franklin of intros, I would say. It's X Factor. I like it.
Thanks very much, mate. Way too flattering. Now, Pommy, I just checked the AFL website. The ins and outs still aren't in. So we're flying by the seats of our speculative pants as far as the ins and outs, and we're looking at the injury list. What's your take on it, mate? Who do you think should be in? Who do you think should be out? Who do you think should be the medical sub? And how do you think that should affect the dynamic of our team going in against a side who's just lost their first game, who are going to be hungry, angry, and that could work in our favour if they're undisciplined and just try to play attacking the whole game. But give us your take on it.
If I was the selection panel, I think J-Sauce instantly comes in for Mitch McGovern. I think you look at how doggies play, one of their susceptibilities is their transition from the back. That is probably their glaring weakness that Richmond exposed last week. But they're a handball-heavy side that you've got to attack space. So J-Sauce, he chases space very well as well. He's not just the type of player that lays tackles. He's always hungry to close down your outlet ball. I don't want to do it, but I feel like we have to at this stage. I'd bring TDK in for Levi Casbolt. You're playing the #1 clearance side in the comp, and I don't think Levi offers enough at forward or in the ruck to merit a game to be played. I'd look at TDK, and I think obviously Zach Williams, a player of his caliber, and when you're paying him that money, he has to walk into the side. And I think he would take Dow's spot. I still think SPS, even though he had a good 3/4 of a game, I still think he needs to bear the punishment in the VFL and work on his game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I love the straight swap TDK for Levi, the straight swap JSOS for Mitch McGovern, the straight swap Zach Williams for Paddy Dow, although I would 100% change that to Zach Williams for Michael Gibbons at the moment. Gibbo is playing like a little bit like Nicky Graham at the moment. He's maybe slightly better. And that's no insult to neither Nick nor Gibbo. Yes, it is. Let's face it. It's a beauty. It's a big hammer. It's a big hammer blow to both of those guys, and I'm happy to deliver it. But he needs to go back to the VFL where he looks like he belongs right now. He's not going to improve us at the moment. He's not. It's a no-brainer to me. I think that SPS personally showed enough, and again, I don't feel like he should have been dropped in the first place. A lot of undue criticism for a guy who's been being played in the wrong position and should be playing as an outside midfielder and a link player. Again, now I'll say this again: Zach Williams half-back flank, Adam Sard half-back flank. They won't know whether to look left or right. That's where Zach belongs as well. That's where we're going to be damaging. And then if you have SPS as that link player, that's where those clever little accurate chip kicks, that's what transitions us to the forward line. So, again, my opinion, but I think there's others that need to be dropped. Now, Mark Murphy's going to be available. No doubt they're going to bring him back in. I would be shocked if the Carlton Football Club didn't bring back their champion. So, sorry, Terry, but it shouldn't happen. He should play in the Magoos, and he should rack up mid-20s possessions in the midfield before he comes back into the side. Liam Stocker needs to go into that midfield to take some of the grunt work. It's ridiculous what's going on there. And that's the dynamic for me. Williams into the halfback flank, Stocker into the guts helping Cripper in the inside, SPS on the outside, and Walshy on the outside. Well, Walshy, Walshy is the new Mr. Everywhere. Inside, outside, sideways, up, down, out, shake it all about. So you just put Walshy wherever you like, and I'm a happy man. Just tell Walshy to hunt the ball, and that's your position, Walshy. Your position is, where's the ball?
Yeah, you're very dangerous telling Carlton Football Club to put a player who's a midfielder anywhere you want, because he might end up a back pocket.
True that.
Keep him in the midfield. Teague, if you're looking for ideas, keep him in the midfield. No, I agree with you. I think, for me, John, where I am as a fan is I think Mark Murphy should now be made captain of the VFL side. We've got some wonderful players in there. Jack Carroll, who is very Mark Murphy 2010. He's a natural accumulator. He's got a bit of X factor. He's a great user. I think Mark Murphy would be better served in the VFL teaching these young blokes what is the minimum requirement to play AFL football, and enjoy his retirement with 40 cheeky touches against Southport.
Yeah. Is that a rugby shirt hanging on the clothesline in the background there, Dan? What's that? What is going on there?
It's my father-in-law's work shirt.
Your father-in-law's work shirt? What's going on with you, mate? What's going on with your life? You got your father-in-law's work shirt hanging up in the background. It's just what you got. Well, I do like the air conditioner though. We scrutinise everything here on Blue Abroad Nation.
It's married life, John. You know what it's like, you know. 10 years, multiple kids later, and I'm cast out into the garden with
Oh,
the
mate.
my father-in-law's sweat.
You're falling apart before our very eyes.
Do you know what I mean? It's what happens, I'm afraid. And it's for any young people out there, it's what you've got to look forward to.
Okay, now look, I've got to end the broadcast because I'm picking up some limestone blocks for my backyard now. So we're gonna finish off with
what's this you've got up here on the?
We're gonna finish off with Vince's Viagra, the hard word. Vince, Vince, what do we have to do? Where do we have to pull our finger out? No holes barred. This is Vince's Viagra, the hard word on Carlton. Give us a hard word, mate. What do we have to do on Sunday?
Well, I'll tell you what. If we play to our potential, let me just say I think we'd be a bit stiff to lose. Anyway.
Jesus!
No, look. I think we're going to have our work cut out for us to stop the Doggies' running game. I think they're a run and gun type team, and it's going to be hard to stop for 4 quarters. If we can match it with them, I'd be wrapped. If we can bring the game to basically whoever wins it in the last 5 minutes scenario, you never know your luck. But I hate to be pessimist, but I think I'm being more of a realist. I think we'll be lucky to get within 4 goals of them, but. You never know when you bring in these young kids. Like we saw last week, some selection decisions that some people raised an eyebrow to, and some of those selections worked out pretty well. And sometimes you've got to do that. You've got to be prepared to take a risk or two, especially on some young talent. So maybe even Dan's suggestion of bringing in, Tom DeConning after only 1 game in the reserves might be worth trying.
Love it.
I think they'll leave him in the reserves for another game or 2 before he's ready. But you never know. They might swing that sort of a decision at the selection table. Obviously, we're going to rely heavily on Harry Mackay to kick a lot of goals. He's been in tremendous form. And obviously, Walshy and Cripper in the middle to try and get it out of the middle and up to the forward line. But I think our defence is going to be truly tested this week. I think what was shown last week by Richmond against the Doggies was that if you can expose their defence, they don't have the really strong, tall defenders to match it with really tall forwards. And that's where Harry Mackay is going to be crucial to our winning chances this week. But my hard word, or if you like, final say on the game, I'm tipping the Bulldogs will probably beat us by at least 4 goals. But hopefully, if we can play to our potential, we can make it a real contest right through to the end.
So the hard word is we got to win it in, we got to win it out, we got to put the pressure on and not be flaccid.
Forward pressure when we get it up forward is going to be crucial to our chances. So I like the Silvani inclusion if that happens. And our midfield's going to be under the pump to match it with the Western Bulldogs midfield, especially with the addition of Treloar in there this year. That's made a tremendous difference to their midfield. So, look, we've had good games against them in the last couple of years, but I think it's a different Western Bulldogs this year. I think they're a vastly better team.
And Dan, I'll just throw it to you. It goes without saying, and I know it's a bit simplistic and we say it every week, but we simply cannot afford to not come out of the blocks in this game, can we? They are going to be angry, hungry, running. They're going to try and go hard, burst, explosive from the very first bounce to the very last foray. So we just can't afford to not be switched on from that first bounce, can we? We've got to come out.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to bring that intensity you had against Essendon, where you were willing to play the man, you were willing to play the ball and make it uncomfortable. Essendon didn't have any easy touches for 3/4 of that game. They had to work for it, and we saw what happened with their kids. They didn't like it. They shied away. The Doggies are a year older than us on average and played 50 games more, so they're used to that. But you've got to up that intensity. You've got to say to them, you're going to work for this every handball's going to hurt you, and you give yourself a chance. But like Vince says, the Doggies are a supreme outfit. They're no mugs, so we're going to have to be at our best to beat this side.
Yeah. Now, quick predictions.
Carlton by 3.
Vince?
I love the optimism. I'm being a realist. I'm saying Western Bulldogs by 29.
I'm being a realist, and I'm saying Carlton by 13. Jed Lamb's number. Now, I did just get a got a message from Jed Lamb apologising for his reception on the road. He's going to jump on again next week and have a chat to us about how the team's going. It was going really well, the conversation. It was a shame he was dropping out. He's a great lad, good fun. So, look, I'm just hoping that we have a show next week. Hopefully the boss doesn't berate me too much for for Vince's new segment. I like the name. I think it says it all. We don't want to be flaccid. It's Vince's Viagra. It's the hard word. It's getting in. It's getting out. It's getting the job done. Vince's Viagra, the hard word. That's what Carlton needs. All right. So, Ben, Vince, Rocco, I'm sorry you were having some issues there. We had to cut you off, or you sort of cut yourself off as well with the reception, but absolute legend. We'll get Rocco on again next week. Guys, good luck on Sunday, hey? Let's go the mighty Bluebaggers. And one more to Joe Laza from Thailand for making Blue Abroad Nation a real Blue Abroad Nation this week. And we're looking forward to having some of our US and European friends on next week. So, and some people from Birmingham as well apparently want to jump on next week. So, It'll be a little bit of fun. Go the Bluebaggers. Let's have a win on Sunday and stick it up the comp, boys.
God bless.
Go Blues.